Mayor Tom Brady with us this morning, ladies and gentlemen. Tom, good morning.
Good morning, Bruce.
Good to see you.
Good to see you as always.
How are you, sir?
I am just fine. It is a beautiful day outside.
A little rough over the weekend, though, huh?
Yeah, it was a tragic weekend with the loss of a little 9-year-old autistic boy. But it was sad that the situation occurred, but it was heartwarming to see the response from our community.
Tara was telling me there was hundreds, if not 1,000 people out searching.
It was just amazing. On Saturday night, the neighborhood was filled with people just wandering the streets looking for this young boy. And at City Hall, we had to move the command center because there was such a large response that we had to move it to the city council chambers. And the city council chambers were packed with concerned people that wanted to know what they could do. And then again on Sunday morning, we had dozens of people that showed up starting at 7 o'clock in the morning to walk the neighborhood in search of this young man.
Wow.
So it was just sad that it ended the way that it did. We were all hoping for a better outcome.
Oh, absolutely.
But what was really amazing, though, was the outpouring of sympathy and support from our community and the professionalism of our police department by gathering all the resources in the way that they did. We had Doug Schuster and the sheriff's patrol boats and the search and rescue, and his police officers were patrolling our streets. We had the child abduction response team from the Phoenix area came up and set up a command post and worked all night long. And it was just amazing, the resources that were brought to bear, and I couldn't be prouder of the city.
That's great. That's great. Tragic, but it's good to hear that the community came together on that.
Exactly.
So, moving forward, Corwin Road, eh? Got a meeting coming up on that.
The Bruce Clark intersection. Yeah, on Tuesday we're going to be, the City Council will be reviewing the design plan for that, as well as the redesign for the end of Miracle Mile and Mojave Drive. That's where we put in that little, what do they call it? The T-bone or
the island down there to keep
the
you
island
from going straight across.
Yeah, that
Walmart.
just hasn't proven to work out very well.
It's kind of a pain, for darn sure.
I go through that intersection a lot, and for a while there I counted 5 out of 5 cars made a U-turn around the island.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't until the 6th car actually did what they were supposed to do. So it's not working the way that it was intended years ago when it was designed.
Wow.
So we're talking about going back to the way it was, except putting in a turn lane to get you into the shopping center.
Excellent, excellent.
But your intersection, we've considered what you said, and we think that it's a good design. Yeah. So we're going to present it to City Council on Tuesday.
To see that. Are you willing to show any of it today, or will you do you want to wait till tomorrow?
No, it's fine. And as a matter of fact, I sent a copy to Chad. I don't know that it would show up very well on your TV, but
Chadwick, have you got that one? Thank you very much. I'm anxious to see that because I'm not an engineer. I know for darn sure that I couldn't figure out a way to come up with something for that, because that one is tough.
And I've talked to so many people that won't make a left-hand turn out of Corwin. You know, they go all the way up to Sterling, and at the top of the hill.
Right.
But just trying to get out on Highway 95 and make a left-hand turn on Corwin is difficult because the traffic is always flowing. Yeah. There we go.
Okay. So.
All right. If you look at the center picture is basically the design. The top picture is going to the south. That it's hard to see, but basically you've got a 16-foot island. If you're looking at the top, the island on the top is a 16-foot island that narrows down as you get closer and closer to Corwin.
Okay.
And on the other side of the island is basically a merging lane, which will be over 200 feet long, separated by a concrete median. So that would give time for at least, I believe it would be at least 10 cars to stack up if traffic is coming. And then that would be the intersection.
Okay, so you're coming out of Corwin out onto Highway 95.
Right. And that's Corwin down there where Chad's arrow is at. Traffic will be stopped from the left. Traffic from the right going south will just continue. There will be no stopping there. but there will be a left-hand dedicated turn lane for anybody that wants to turn left onto Corwin.
So you tell me there's going to be a stoplight on the east side of 95 there?
Yes. And then you can see the turning lane going southbound. To your left, Chad. Yeah, there. That's basically going to be a separated acceleration lane with concrete medians on both sides for at least 200 feet, where cars will be able to merge with the oncoming southbound traffic.
Wow, okay. Oh, I like. That's good.
So basically, we're not going to be stopping traffic uphill on the southbound traffic.
But you're going to give them plenty of room to merge in.
And we're going to give them at least 200 feet of protected merging lane. And you know, there's people that are saying that it's going to be dangerous, and some people will have accidents, but what's the alternative?
Yeah, I don't know that it could get any more dangerous than it is right now. That is a
and the
nasty
people
one.
that are using that merging lane will be the people who live in Arroyo Vista, and
Right.
they're the ones who will get used to it. And I don't anticipate there's going to be any problem with it.
It doesn't look like there would be with something like that.
So,
That's cool.
you know, and I got to thank you. You're the one that came up with the idea. If
Well,
nobody had said anything, we probably would have gone with a regular intersection with everybody stopping, and you made a good point.
That's that old truck driver in me.
That's that old truck driver.
Fantastic. A lot of things going on. A lot of things you've got.
And first off, I want to thank you for running the State of the City's address.
Oh, are you kidding me? It was quite a privilege.
Well, we're glad that we're pleased and thankful that you were able to put it on your show, because we all thought that it was important to let the people know about all the good things that are happening in the city.
Definitely. Nice job.
Thank you.
Nice job on that, too.
Not the most professional, but with the resources that we have, it was fine.
No, you did a great job on it, and it was important that everyone get it. And if they missed it somehow, I don't know how.
Well, it's on the city's website should anybody want to watch it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
No problem.
So let's talk about some of the new things that are going on that are great. We got a letter from ADOT saying that they are going to delay making a decision on the roundabout down on Aztec. They have listened to what everybody had to say because the public comment period is now over with, and they are reevaluating the spending of their safety money. And when they said that they're reevaluating it, my hope is that they're going to take the money that was budgeted for the roundabout and think about spending it elsewhere in the state,
Right.
and giving us the alternative Plan B.
Now, Aztec was taken off the...
No, Camp Mojave was taken off.
Camp Mojave was taken off.
Right.
That was done deal. Now, this one is going to be kind of set aside.
This one is, they're delaying the decision. They told us that they would have a decision made about this time, and the letter that we got from them basically said that we want more time to think about it. And I believe that's because they want to talk about how they're going to redistribute the money that they had planned for that and give that to someplace else in the state or another project here in our area.
And I guess that would be a great deal of it to say that your representatives throughout the county and your personal attendance to some of those meetings is what probably made the difference.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, there was a petition signed with over 2,000 signatures on it.
Are you serious?
That we presented to the state officials.
Holy criminy.
Yeah.
That's great.
So, and once again, folks, you know, people say that why are you against roundabouts? I'm not against roundabouts. The proper place, the proper design, I think there's a place for them.
Oh, sure.
But I just don't think that was a good one.
No.
So.
I'm inclined to agree with you. What else you got on your docket?
Oh, there's lots of good things happening. We attended the Las Vegas Shopping Center convention last week, which was a 3-day affair where the city manager, his assistant, Annette Wegman, Mark Clark, and I met with retailers and developers throughout the country and spent 3 days up there and tried to attract business to our town. While we were there, we met with Hobby Lobby officials, and they finally said it's time. You can formally announce that the land has been purchased behind Perkins, and they will be constructing a Hobby Lobby. They expect that within the next few months, they will break ground.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Additionally, we signed the last document for the Holiday Inn Express that's going to be built on the hillside across from the Lowe's.
Yeah.
And they expect that they will be breaking ground within the next 30 to 60 days.
That has been, what, 2 years in the making now?
Well, it's been 1 full year since we signed the original agreement, but the original Holiday Inn Express goes back probably 6 or more years.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Is this any semblance of what it was originally? What's coming down now?
Well, the concept is much the same, but I think back then they only had a conceptual plan. The major difference is the old plan called for a 10,000 square foot indoor water park. This one doesn't.
Yeah.
This one is more just for, hotel and convention purposes. And it's going to be an 80-room hotel, a Holiday Inn Express type hotel, along with the 15,000 square foot convention center with room to expand.
I'm not trying to be a downer on this, but it's been proven over decades that hotels in Bullhead City don't do well because there's a competition between Bullhead City and Laughlin. I mean, you cannot possibly compete with somebody that's got 1,000 or 2,000 rooms, price-wise or anything else. Is this concept going to fly? I mean, number one, the thing that I'm going to be a negative Nelly, and I don't mean to be, but is placement of this property. Is kind of back off Silver Creek where you really can't see what's going on, especially if you're northbound on 95. Is the placement of it, and then the fact that they're going to have to compete with the hotel rooms in Laughlin.
That was a large topic of discussion when we discussed the contract at the City Council. There were several members that didn't think that it was going to succeed based on exactly the things that you're mentioning now. And they didn't like getting into a 50-year lease of city land with a 50-year renewal option at their choice.
Right.
Because it could turn into a terrible white elephant for us, but we'll just have to wait and see. I do want to say, though, that the developer has got much experience in developing hotel properties. This is not a local guy as it was before. This Steve Lamont has built hotels throughout the country, and he's been very successful at it. And he's now sponsoring, or he's not sponsoring, he's financing a major hotel expansion in Sault Ste. Marie. I believe it was Iowa or Oklahoma. I've had people call me and asking me about this guy, and he's moving forward with a big project there with the blessing of their city council. So
wow.
We keep our fingers crossed because it would be really nice to have a good quality hotel and a conference center on our side of the river.
Well, it would. I mean, it definitely, if it's done correctly and they're willing to stay. Is it a 50-year lease with these guys?
It's a 50-year lease with a 50-year renewal option, which I found a little excessive. No, I found it a lot excessive. As I tried to explain to the city council, how would you like to inherit a lease that was signed during the midst of World War I?
Yeah. Wow. You're
yeah,
right.
and how many buildings are still standing after 100 years? So I had problems with the contract. I didn't have problems with the hotel coming, but I just wish they would have bought the land rather than leased it from them.
Yeah. You know, and before we get on to the next subject, I am going to, Chad had to eat a little crow on his face this morning on one thing that he did, and I'm going to, I don't know if I need to eat crow or whatever. Yeah, I do. Some time ago, when there was a economic development here in Bullhead City, where there was an actual office and people who ran it and who went to shows and things. And that then became a little too expensive for the city to afford. We were in some pretty rough times back then. And it was said that the city was going to take over that. Some of the city councilmen were going to do those things and continue the development of our communities. I sat here and said, bull. I didn't think it could be done, but boy, was I wrong. I really was. It seems like there's been a lot of growth in the community.
And you know, a lot of that probably had to do with the economy at the time.
Yeah.
You know, when the Economic Development Authority was trying to attract business and being subsidized by, you know, their operation was being subsidized by the city, you know, those were hard times. That was in the midst of the recession, so you can't fault them for not giving it their best. And Lisa Kay did a tremendous job. You know, I've looked at some of the work that she did, and I'm very impressed with her professionalism and how
Very
hard
thorough.
she did work at it. But when she decided to take a job for Golden Vertex, the board of the Economic Development Authority just said, enough's enough, let's just give it up.
Yeah.
So the city took it over, and I'm very proud of our city manager. He is doing a fantastic job in dealing with developers and business owners, and I think we're making some good progress.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. As we've discussed here already today. A lot of stuff.
And so I accept your apology.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
But talking about those same types of things, we talked about Holiday Inn Express, we talked about Hobby Lobby, Smart and Final. We all know that Smart and Final is moving from their current location to next to Ashley Home Store, which will be directly across from the building of the Hobby Lobby. And they're going from 13,000 square feet to 30,000 square feet, and they will be a full-service grocery store. And they will sell all kinds of liquor as opposed to just beer and wine.
Boy, they need that footage right now. That store is packed.
Yeah,
It really
absolutely. And it's a bad location on Highway 95 because people are always coming and going out of that tiny parking lot. And
Right.
there's traffic congestion
Right.
and accidents there. So we're glad to get them off of there. But our city manager says that he's working with somebody to take over that existing store right now. Don't know what it is. He keeps a lot of those things under wraps, but he does say that he's working with somebody, and let's be hopeful that, you know, it's a good use for it.
Excellent.
Additionally, Culver's. Everybody's asking me about Culver's.
Okay, what is Culver's?
Culver's a Wisconsin-based hamburger chain,
Oh, okay.
and they a nice, clean atmosphere, very youthful-oriented, very police-friendly-oriented. They serve. They're known for their custard and their French fried cheese curds.
Yeah.
So they will be opening. They've now set a couple of groundbreakings that each time has been delayed, but right now we are going to have a groundbreaking on June 18th. And they will be located on the southwest corner of the Parkway and Highway 95, just north of the Urgent Care Center on the pad that's out there now.
Okay.
So we are looking forward to that restaurant chain coming into town. They have one down in Havasu. Many of you, I'm sure, have eaten there, and it's something that we're looking forward to getting here.
Awesome.
You noticed, if you've been on our side of the river, the excavation has started on the new museum project at the Bullhead Community Park.
Yes.
So we're working diligently and trying to assist Larry Adams on getting that building up and built and open for business.
That sure happened a lot sooner than I expected it to. I think
Well,
sooner than everyone expected it.
And that was Larry's concern, is he wanted it done as quickly as possible because the donor who is making it happen, the anonymous donor who donated the money to build the building, is not in the best of health, and we want to make sure that it's done as quickly as possible.
Right. He's there to celebrate the opening.
So we don't even know that because it's anonymous. So those are some of the great things that are happening right now.
I'm going to take a real quick break right now, but when we come back, I've got some more stuff I want to talk to you about.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will take a very quick break, and we'll be back with more of the morning show right after this.
This segment of the morning show is brought to you by Fort Mojave Dental, the best place for the best smile in the tri-state area. Kind and caring staff will help you feel better about your smile. Call them today at 928-758-8887 or check them out online at sugarbug.com.
Houston, we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem.
by for whatever reason. You need to get to the grocery store, the doctor's office, or you just want to spend the day shopping. Trips to Las Vegas, Boulder City, Green Valley, and Henderson are as easy as 1, 2, 3. These out-of-town trips provide access to medical specialists not available in our immediate area, as well as providing access to expanded retail and entertainment excursions. Clean, safe, and dependable. Service for Laughlin and Searchlight. It's Silver Rider.
Here we are sitting here with Mayor Tom Brady, Bullhead City Mayor. So you and I spoke last time you were here regarding this skeleton. My wife calls it the birdhouse.
Yeah, our Emerald River skeleton.
Yeah, the beautiful sight you get to see from Bullhead City every day.
I made a run at it, but I'm sorry to say that I was unsuccessful.
Really?
Yeah.
Pretty convoluted in that whole mess, isn't it?
Yeah, and what's really sad about it is that there's nobody in Nevada that has to look at it, so I don't think anybody on the Nevada side of the river really cares.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to look at it on a daily basis, and all of the many tourists that we bring to town that go up and down our river have to look at it, and I think it should be an embarrassment to Clark County and the Laughlin side of the river that nothing is being done.
Oh, absolutely.
But anyway, when I was researching what we could do with it, I learned that it sits on 17 acres of land, and the structure itself, we are told, has value, and they can continue to work on it should they ever choose to do that. They say that it is structurally sound. So my position was that if it's structurally sound, then why isn't it being taxed at some sort of an improvement value?
Good point.
Right now, the land, the last time I looked, was valued at roughly $450,000, and they put zero value on the building itself. So they're paying about $15,000 a year in property taxes for that land, and they're paying $12,000 for the 14 acres adjacent to it that's bare land. So
on the river, and there's no value to it.
There's no value to it. And now I use the example of, you're familiar with the Fountain Blue across from Circus Circus.
Right.
All right. So if you use the same logic, the Fountain Blue on the Strip, and there's a difference, it's on the Strip, but it's 19 acres of land, but they did the same thing. They started construction, they got up several stories, and they stopped. And they've stopped for several years. But the Fountain Blue has an improvement value for their stopped structure of $50 million. And the land is valued at $22 million. So they're paying $1.5 million a year for that property. Adjacent to the Fountain Blue, bare land, they're only paying $391,000. So logically, it would seem to me that I could go to the county assessor in Clark County and say, why are you doing it to the Fountain Blue and you're charging them for a skeleton,
right,
but you're not charging it the same way here in Laughlin? So I met with our county assessor, Jeannie Kench, and she and I talked about it at great length. And I explained to her exactly the research that I came up with, and she made an appointment, and she actually went and talked to the Clark County assessor, and they just basically said the two are not related. The Emerald River skeleton has absolutely no value, so she can't assign a value, an improvement value to it. So she's happy with her decision, and she's not willing to change. So anyway, I'm not real pleased.
How totally Clark County.
Yeah,
I got to tell you.
I'm really not pleased with that, because I was hoping that if they would have valued the building, the skeleton itself, when they tell us that it can still be built upon,
sure,
it doesn't necessarily need to be torn down. If they would have valued it and raised that property tax from $15,000 to maybe $50,000 or $100,000 a year, perhaps the owners might have worked a little harder at getting something done with it. Or perhaps they might have just decided to abandon it and give it to Clark County, like Don Laughlin has done with his properties. So anyway, I made a run at it. I wish that I could have had better news, but it seemed like a logical argument, and it was not successful.
That's every time someone has approached the county on this, that's pretty much the same confusion that follows.
And I looked into some of the efforts that had been done on it before, but nobody approached it from this way.
Right.
So I was just trying a new approach.
By the way, I got from Chad earlier, before you came on this morning, there was a phone call that we had, and Chad voiced this phone call that he had received by saying that someone called and said they were going to put 4 big screens together down at the Golden Nugget tonight for the game, the hockey game.
Oh, really?
Right? Yeah. So I said, are we sure? Where did we get this call? And he said, well, from a viewer, I guess. Well, can't be putting that out there because they go down to Golden Nugget and there's not 4 screens up there, big screens. I'm in trouble. So I said, you need to check this out. So he called down there, and they said, no, we're not putting any big screens up. Well, we just got a call from the Golden Nugget during the break. They are putting those screens
cool.
up, and it will be at the Golden Nugget Laughlin tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Those 4 big screens all ready for you to come down and watch.
And sit in the parking lot?
And sit in the parking lot, yeah.
In 107 degrees?
No, it'll be at Gold Diggers. I think it'll be, plus the other 20-some televisions they've got in there.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah, so I need to get that back out before.
Well, it'll be an interesting game tonight.
Oh, don't you think? Who are you betting on tonight?
Oh, I got to say the Knights are going to take it.
Do you think?
I certainly hope so.
Gonna tie it up, huh?
I certainly hope so.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're not going to win the season, the cup, but I am doubtful to some degree that they're going to win tonight. I think they got whooped pretty bad Saturday. I think they've got to get whipped one more time, and then they're going to come on like the Chargers they are.
Well, we'll see.
And to say I'm rooting for them, I am absolutely.
And that starts at 5:05.
Thank you very much, Chad. Still trying to bail out on that one, huh? Bail out from the trouble?
I mean, I feel like I ate crow a second time.
No, you didn't. You're fine, buddy. Let me see. They've got the Empty the Shelter program going on. We'll talk about that a little bit tomorrow. So all in all, how you doing? Here you got to take a little bit of a freewheeling run here a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, the same time you did.
And I heard you also got into some hail.
Yes.
This is the first year I haven't. You got it.
I want to stop naming it the old can I say it, Old Farts Run?
Yes.
And call it the Let's All Suffer Again run. It seems like every time I plan one of these trips, it's like we run into bad weather.
Yeah.
And we knew that the weather was not going to be good at Bryce Canyon, but the forecast for the day at 8 o'clock in the morning is that they would hit in the afternoon. And we got to the top of Bryce Canyon, all 20 bikes and 29 people, and we rode through probably 2 miles of hail to get to the top, the last stop at Bryce Canyon, and it was like BB-sized hail at 40 miles an hour is not fun if you're not prepared for it.
No.
So we got to the top and immediately turned around and came down in slush, which made it dangerous driving.
Yeah.
And we finally found a pullout where we had enough room for 20 bikes and 29 people, and the sun was shining, and it was all we could do to just, to relax. So.
Yeah, see, I've never traveled in a group not often anyway, in a group that large, but I can imagine what a pain 28, 29 people is going to be.
Well, let me tell you, it's a lot more challenging than running a city of 40,000 people because everything depended on me. It was like if I make a mistake or it's not a good trip, then it all falls back on me.
The lodging was bad. If you couldn't find the right restaurant to eat, I know.
And I got to say, it was a perfect trip, and we had a great time. We only lost one bike.
Yeah.
And
he's giggly as all get out about his new one. So
he limped into St. George with his old 2005 Honda, I think it was, and said, I want to buy a new Harley.
Yeah.
And he bought it right there on the spot and continued on with us.
That's great.
And I won't mention any names.
No, because he was on the show, I think, last week. Wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Yes, he was. Well, we did a few more miles, but our group ran into a bike with problems, and one that I don't know how it's made it the last 3 runs, to be honest with you. And it was probably one of the ugliest Harleys I've ever seen in my life, the paint job that was on it. Sorry, Ward. But he wound up just outside of Boise, running into all kinds of problems. We got into Boise. Next day, he went down and bought a new motorcycle.
There you go.
Absolutely. So next year's run should be fine. Should be fine. It's what we do.
And I have no idea what to expect next year, but
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Boy, you do some big runs. That's a lot of people.
Well, we've never had one that. Well, I shouldn't say that. Many years ago, like on my third or fourth run, we had about that same size group, and it was challenging. But these people all stayed together very well, and I was very surprised at how well it went. We didn't have any real hiccups at all.
It's one thing you got to, when you're riding with a group of motorcyclists. For those of you going on poker runs and whatnot, be sure the guy riding next to you or right behind you knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So that's so kind
and keep
important.
Together. If you're on a long straightaway or whatever and you're spread out over a quarter mile, you get people behind you that want to pass, and that always turns out to be a dangerous situation.
Yeah, it does. It does. Well, I'm glad. But your bike made it through okay.
Oh, sure. My bike is just fine.
Fun stuff out there. Well, we're done for the summer pretty much.
I know. I was like coming over here this morning. I was out in the garage before I had to get ready to come here, and it was like it's beautiful. And I'm thinking about driving the bike over here, but the weather forecast is for 107 later on today, and that's a little hot going home.
I got mine cleaned up finally Sunday of last week and put the cover on it.
Haven't got to that point yet.
The cover's on.
I took mine to work on Friday of last week.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, see, I can't because it'll mess up my hair.
Oh, yeah. At least you still have hair. I don't quite have that same problem.
Oh, goodness gracious. You ride with a helmet, though, don't you?
Of course.
Absolutely.
Well, I never did, but in my new position, because young people might see me out on the road and they might recognize
That's a good point.
me. It's, just going back and forth from work. I wouldn't normally do that, but because of my position now, I don't want to ever portray the wrong thing to a young person.
Well, that's admirable because it certainly does save lives.
Yes,
I don't
absolutely.
necessarily like them too, but then again, I've seen a couple of my buddies go down, and you know as well as I do, without it, you're going to be in...
You're toast.
Yeah, you could easily be.
Yeah.
So, tomorrow, did we say tomorrow night was the meeting? Or tonight?
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. Okay, so trying to figure out which one it was.
It'll be a workshop, and
That's it.
I think it was at 4:00.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's just going to be discussing the interchanges, the one on Corwin and the one on Mojave Drive.
Do you want...
And then we're going to have an executive session to discuss the update on our EPCOR water situation.
Okay.
I should also say, and I hate to say it, but tomorrow night we will also be discussing wastewater rate increases. Not something that any of us are happy to do, but it's on the agenda. So if you feel strongly about it, you might want to research the city's website or show up at City Hall tomorrow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Am I timed out?
Yes.
I am?
1 minute.
1 minute. Boy, I'm on the money.
Yeah.
Tom, thanks for being here. Always good seeing you.
It's always good to be here, Bruce.
Thank you.
Always good to be here.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to get a hold of me, 763-9400. You can get a hold of him or anyone.
Or text me or email me. My email is tbrady@bullheadcity.com.
Doesn't get any easier than that. Thank you, Michaela.
You're welcome.
Chad, thank you.
Anytime. And Golden Nugget is in the sports book, not Gold Diggers tonight.
Oh, boy. Now, see, there I was wrong.
It happens from time to time.
Once in a while. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very, very much. We'll see you again tomorrow. Until then, have a great day. Bye-bye.
The preceding private use of our audience, any other use of this